Hey everyone out there watching this video. So this is going to be my very first, I'm going to call it an animation stream even though it's recording. I'm just going to call it a stream. So this is going to be my very first animation streaming of basically my entire channel, because I would show people my channel and I would tell them I'm animating my own series, and they would tell me that if you're an animator, where's the animation? And I would have to agree, where is the animation? So this is every once in a while I'm going to do a stream like this, aside the animation reviews, just to show off that I'm still working on my series, still going strong, and the only animation that will be on my channel until the series pilot is out fully is going to be the streams of animation, recordings, whatever. Because I don't want what happened to Teleporte to happen to me. Because with him, he releases like maybe 10 seconds of animation. And then as soon as he shows that off, it gets like circulated around by people that aren't him. Like they just take his videos and then they upload to their channel without giving him any sort of. He gets like no. He gets no money from it. He gets no views from it. They're just stealing his content. And I don't want that to happen to me. If anyone ever happens to think my work is decent enough to just steal it, but I've seen less animated work that's been stolen that's basically just stick figures. So I don't want that to happen to me. So I'm just going to release it as soon as it comes out. And then all of my animations will just be in stream form just to show them off. Now, someone I would like to talk about while the stream is going on, this one is Mr. Enter and his series Growing Around. Now, Mr. Enter he's a well-known YouTuber. He does animation reviews. That's what he's known for, basically, aside Growing Around. Now, Growing Around I don't want to call it a disaster, because if you go to the Indiegogo campaign that he had set up, he managed to raise around 3% of his goal, which wouldn't sound very good unless you know the context, which is it is $350,000. That was his goal, and he managed to raise $10,641. That's not bad. It's nothing to really nothing to really scoff at. That's a pretty good $10,000 is pretty okay. So I feel like there's a couple things that Mr. Enter did that I feel like if he had just thought through it more, it wouldn't. It probably his series probably would be made by now. But just because of I'm not saying it couldn't be made, because it could always be made. But I just feel like he just doesn't have the passion for it like he used to. He doesn't have the will to try and make this series a reality anymore. It's not going to be made. I just feel like it's not. If it ever is, I will be amazed. But I don't think it's ever going to be in its own animated series. I just don't. Now, so like when you look into his budget that he had for it, he had $250,000 for the animation. No. Do not do that. Why would he make $250,000 for the animation budget is insane. I'm going to go on a limb here and say that is probably more of a budget than most anime studios. So let's just look at what the budget would be per episode. So like an acclaimed and widely followed anime costs between $100,000 to $300,000 per episode. So I just feel like for the amount that he's asking for, he did not need it. So like his style is really more based on like Western animation. Like it's not as detailed as anime would be. Um, so it being like 300 like thousand for, I'm thinking the pilot. Um, I don't really feel like it needed to be $250,000 for the pilot. Now, if he had lowered the goal, because everything else um, isn't like completely out of the realm of possibility, I suppose. The Indiegogo fees, I think we can just take that off because if his goal wasn't as high, he wouldn't need $17,500 just for the fees, the transaction fees. Again, I don't think it'd be that much if his goal wasn't so high. Voice acting at 5,000, I can believe that. Soundtrack 2,000, I can believe that. Storyboarding, I feel like that should somewhat be lumped into the animation budget, but whatever. So let's see, perks and rewards being $35,000. I feel like if he thought about it more, he could have just like really cut down on that number and made everything of his Indiegogo pretty much almost digital, except for like the really high tiers. Then he probably should have thought more outside the box to get people a perk that would be worth it for the amount that they had spent, but not so much that it ate up production time and resources. Um, and then discretionary. What does discretionary mean? Is it like, is that just his budget that he just gets the 20K? He just didn't look like he really thought this through. So like, if his series does not look like it's worth $250,000 to make, um, like overall, because his style is really more of like Family Guy. So I'm just gonna look up what that is. Wow. Okay. So Family Guy actually costs $2 million per episode to produce. Now the reason for that is it is basically for all the voice actors on this show. They each get 300,000 per episode. So I feel like he really didn't think this through. So if anything, the animation budget would have been like 5K, 10K, 15K, and then the voice acting, depending on who he got. Now that would have been where all of the budget would have went to. Now he didn't think of this budget at all, because I don't even know if it's for the pilot or if it's for the episodes. I'm gonna assume it's for the episode. I mean, for like just the pilot, because it's like 22 to 26 a minute, and like that's more than a lot of shows episodes are, at least by like 4 minutes. And then when I go to like his Indiegogo trailer, if you look at it, basically he says that the series is going to be funded through Patreon. So your Indiegogo is $300,000. I feel like the entirety of the series, like, because I think he said like maybe it's like 6 seasons, with like the people that he has and the voice actors that he would probably be able to get. Yeah, because this is the fun. Yeah, because this would all be for the pilot, I'm assuming, which is insane. I feel like the most it would cost for the entirety of his series, I feel like should be like, I don't know, 70 to like $100,000, because it's not like all of the people he has are like big time studio like professionals. They're just people from like like DeviantArt, like Tumblr and stuff. So they didn't really need this. I don't know where he was getting that. And then he also says like he thought through all of his characters. Well, when you go to his live streams, he didn't think through all these characters because the art style is not consistent. Because whenever someone would ask about certain characters, they don't even have model sheets. Now, granted, I'm not saying that all of my characters in my show have model sheets yet, because I have a wide variety of characters that still need to have model sheets done. But I at least have a decent amount that I can do an episode with. And if I need to create a new character, I just create a new character, make their model, the reference sheet, model sheet, and everything, and then they're good to go. But with his show, a lot of the characters aren't even like they don't even have they have no character sheets. He doesn't really even know the character traits. So if you were to ask me about any of my 6 characters, I could basically tell you a lot about their their flaws, the abilities that they have because there's magic in this world, and like their backstories, how they think, the way they see the world, their philosophies. I could tell you all that. Now I have basically scripts stuff that basically I have on demand, that if I need to go and look up specific traits about a character, I can just go and do that, and it shows me. But he didn't really. He says that he had written down his scripts and everything to perfection. I don't feel like he did, because when he would go to the live streams, because I believe I've watched almost all of them except for like one, he would be asked a question, and it would be a serious question. He just wouldn't have an answer for it. He would go to I think, head artist. I think she's the head artist. I have no idea. He would go to her, and then she would give an answer, and then sometimes he would contradict it. So the live streams weren't very well done. I saw someone's review of the live streams, and I basically agreed with them on a majority of the points, that it was very unprofessional. He should have made a rule that if you're talking to someone that's not in the stream, you should mute. He didn't have any answers to a wide variety of questions. And then like his world building is just not there. He just doesn't really think through it. Like he gets asked a lot of questions that make sense, like to be asked, and he just blows them off half the time. Which, if you're making a series and people are paying you, like you're getting paid on the live stream, you're getting paid on Patreon, you're getting paid on Indiegogo, you need to be answering these questions. And his attitude whenever he answers these questions is like really, it's not, he's not excited half the time, it feels like. Now, I like talking about my characters and the stories and struggles that they go through as I, build up the world and their goals in life. So I like talking about my show. He does not like talking about his, because like someone would ask them, well, is there magic in the world? Because I feel like if there was magic in his world, that would make things a lot easier. So like in one of the episode scripts, there is Sally, I think is her name, is one of the main characters, and she's basically asking all her family to play with her, and they all telling her that they don't have time. So then she has an imaginary friend. Well, this imaginary friend, while there isn't magic in this world, it still seems like this imaginary friend is conscious of the fact that they're an imaginary friend. And I have to say, when you read out the episode, it wasn't that bad, except the fact it was really confusing. And I feel like the script that he had for it, it was not worth 22 minutes. That was at least like, at most, I would say like 12. But I feel like the majority of his story could be told in basically the amount it would take a Hell of a Boss episode. And like the back to the episode, At the end, the imaginary character just tells Sally to live her life without her around, and she goes and does that. But the character doesn't just like fade away because it doesn't feel like she's really a part of Sally's consciousness, and like that she's just a creation. She's just a figment of Sally's mind, and that she's not really any sort of like she's not like just an illusion. Like it seems like she's actually like alive and can think for herself. Which to say that your show doesn't have magic when like even the pony, I think it's named Scumdrop, is able to like think and stuff. Which you could say it's like cartoon logic, but I mean like there's just elements of the show that if it was magical, at least a little bit, it would make so much more sense. So like I feel like he could retool the script to be a lot less odd if he just said that when you're born, you basically you're a baby, so you don't really have the ability to speak or anything yet because your muscles and everything is like brand new. So you don't have the ability to do anything really for much of uh, throughout the beginning stages of your life. But as soon as you're able to like walk and talk and stuff, then you're basically born with all the intelligence you're going to have, and that the older you get, the more of your world experience you lose, which is why the parents are in school because the kids are born just smarter than them. I mean, the kids are born and they're like smarter than them. That's not to say like they become like incredibly stupid. That's just to say like they drop down from being like wickedly intelligent, like almost Einstein levels, to just eventually once they get to like really old age, they're like kind of just dumb. Not to the extent where like they don't know how to take care of themselves or they're like they just are incapable of doing like almost any activity without much thought. It's just that like they're like slightly below average intelligence of like a generic person. So I feel like if he had a little bit of a magic thing in there, a little bit of a magic system, his show would have been like it wouldn't have been good, but it would have made a little bit more sense. Because then he has to go through in his Indiegogo campaign and just explain in like bold lettering about how his world works. So like I don't really have to worry about that in my show because all of the characters are like they're all animals to a certain extent. They're all mythological beasts and stuff. They're all anthro to a certain extent. So I don't really have to worry about that because this show is magical and it makes sense in its own way. That's not to say I don't have like there's not systems in place like magic and such. It's just that you expect this world to be fantastical. As with Mr. Enter's world, he wants everything to be serious and grounded to an extent, which he should have just taken the route of K&D. Like K&D, I remember that show. It was it was such a good show, and I wish that there is a sequel to it because I would watch that. I loved that show as a kid. That was an awesome show. But I feel like he should have taken that route because he could have just made like a sequel to K&D, his own unofficial sequel, and everyone would have just been like, "This is awesome! I want this show." And then he may have even gotten people that used to work on the show to actually be a part of it. That would be awesome. I'm sure a lot of people would have given him more money if he was basically saying, "I'm making K&D the sequel, only everything has to be slightly changed so that way he doesn't get any sort of trouble with Cartoon Network." But he doesn't want to go that route. He wants to tell a slice of life series, which I feel like those have the least amount of staying power. Usually, when it comes to shows that have a lot of, they have a lot of an audience, is ones where the characters change over time or events happen, but that's not what he wants. What he should have done is also looked at other projects because while Vivsy Pop's show I don't think was really all that well known, not Hell of a Boss, Aspen Hotel was not that known when he had his Indiegogo. There was one show that was in production for quite a while. It's called, I believe, Ollie and Scoops. I've seen a couple episodes of it. This is a really cute show. I really wish that the creator more had more views, because this show is really cute, but it doesn't. But I feel like it's going to gain its own following after a while. If I remember correctly, this show has basically been in production for since like 20 I don't know, 14, 2012. Um, but if he had just like waited a year or so, he would have seen Ollie and Scoops um, come out, I believe, and then he would have basically been able to basically do what they did, which is you start small, and then you basically work your way up. Because he's also Nico Animations, the producer of Ollie and Scoops. He has no artistic ability at all. If you ask him to draw his characters, he can't do it. He has artists that he knows in the animation industry. Now, I'm not asking Mr. Encher to go into the animation industry to learn how to do this stuff, but I'm just saying, like, he just needed to have the initiative, and he doesn't. Like, I, I want to have a series, so I basically am saying I don't want to wait for it to get picked up by a studio if I know it's not going to be picked up by a studio. But I still want to have this series. So I'm just saying, if I want to have this show done, if you want to have a show, no one's going to want that show done more than you. You really need to work on it, or know people that can help you work on it. And he just doesn't have that. He just doesn't have the passion to really buckle down and just learn to draw himself, despite the fact he loves animation. But he also doesn't have the connections to, like, the creator of Ollie and Scoops does, to make an episode. So if memory serves, Ollie and Scoops, I believe that he said that it takes $10,000 to make an episode. That's just, I'm assuming, because of the people that he knows, and he has to hire them because, again, he doesn't have any artistic ability himself, so he has to rely on other people. So that costs just more money. Now, I work on basically the only parts of the show I don't work on myself for Unstable, my series, would have to be backgrounds. I'm not a background designer. I don't do it. I don't like really doing it. It's just something I have to do so that my scenes, like the outline of a scene, just so that it has something in it I can work off of. But I don't like doing backgrounds. It's never really been something I'm interested in. And then voice acting. I can't voice every character, obviously. I kind of like to think of Vivzy Pop as like the highest you can go when it comes to getting a series done. And then right below them, I would say, is like Ollie and Scoops, A Fox in Space, and then a couple other series that I probably don't know about. But that's basically how it goes. So there's very few parts of the show that I myself am incapable of doing. So I feel like if Mr. Enter really wanted this show to be something, he's had plenty of time. He could have learned animation. He could have learned to draw his own characters. He could have learned all of these things. He just doesn't want to do it. He wants to make 70 plus scripts. He wants to basically just focus on all of the world building, which, I mean, at times I'll do that too, where I'll be so focused on like watching how a character, like the animation plays in my head about how this character's acting and the struggles they go through. But there's a time and a place for world building, and there's a time to just build the world. But he hasn't done that. He's not going to do that anytime soon. I would love to talk with him, but he doesn't do interviews, I'm assuming. And I don't really think there's much of a way I can talk to him. But I feel like there is a way for his show to work, and there is a way for him to actually get it off the ground. It's just I don't know if he really wants to do that anymore because he has to put in a lot of work. So for like my show, the very first couple like minutes, I need 8 minutes of animation. Um, so that roughly translates to like 50. I've got like 50 shots to do before this series is like series pilot is done. Um, Now, some of the shots are going to be like really basic, or like it's just going to be like in like you would see in anime, where like the characters like for like 10 whole seconds is just the character opening and closing their mouths, just because it would be impossible to get this series out if I didn't do things like that. Then there's also going to be scenes where like the action is like picked up, and then they're like fighting and being really like weighted in their animation, and everything just kind of picks up. Uh, but like I feel like oh, another one I forgot is another show that I love is I believe it's called See No Evil. Yes, See No Evil. No, it's not called See No Evil. It's what is it? I have to look it up. Yeah, no, it is. It's called no. It's just called. It's not called See No Evil. It's just called No Evil by Betsy Lee. I love her series. It's so cute. It's an adorable series. The world building I feel like is pretty well done. There's a couple of questions that are always lingering that I wish you just explain, but it's fine. But her show is like really cute, and I love it. I love the characters. I love the I love the writing. Everything just kind of plays out. It's like a really. It's got scenes where like there's some form of action, but for the most part, the characters are just kind of like going about their day and like their struggles, and that's a really cool. It's really good writing if she can make a character just like standing around talking really like interesting. Um, the couple aspects I would say is that sometimes the animation just looks weird, and that the background design could use work. But other than that, I think the show is really good. Um, but I don't really have much else to say for this stream other than Mr. Enter. I really hope that you would make your series. Not because I want it to work, but because I want you to want it to work. And you've seen other people, even other people that don't know how to animate. You've seen that these shows can be done, but you just need to cut down on you need to give some creative control to the people that work with you, and not just be over everyone's head, and your say is the final say on everything. Because if you've looked at all these episodes that come out, they are, unless it's like a Fox in Space, which he's taking a while to make his second episode, but that's okay because I like the show. Like they're none of them are really more than like 8-10 minutes, but he wants to make 22 minutes, and it's not gonna happen. It's not. Um, I don't care what art style you have. If you're not going to make 22 minutes of animation just for like one episode, there's no way. Um, Not unless you have like a full production team behind it, and even then, that takes a while. But yeah, I would like to thank everyone for coming to this animation stream, watching it to the end if you felt like it. Um, if you would like to subscribe, like this video, and you will be seeing more animation streams like this, more reviews from me in the future as I work on my series pilot. Thank you.